Hello, people of Connecticut. This is Selena Rifkin, and I'm here with my pals, Jason Douglas and John Anderson, and Mr. Anderson. I'm sorry, I really do need to do that. It's important. So we have many things to talk about today, and I think I'm going to throw it over to Jay.
Do
Back,
it.
yeah, who we also call John. So,
Yeah. We have a problem in Connecticut, Jay. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we have a problem. It's called we're number 47 out of 50 for places to start a business, which is just embarrassing because at one point we were a pretty good state to have corporations coming into. And I don't know if you guys have seen, but we've lost a lot of businesses over the last probably 15 years since Democrats have taken over the state. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon. The only states that ranked lower than us were Maryland, Hawaii, and Rhode Island. So
yay.
yeah, it's not a good pool to
Hawaii.
be involved in.
And only Hawaii because of the ocean. You know.
Yeah. Well,
I
Wow.
think,
they have a lot of like hard liberal policies too.
They do. That's true. That is true.
yeah,
Oh,
so
that's a
Rhode
shame.
Island was 50th. Looks like Maryland was 49th, Hawaii was 48th, and then here we are
Now,
at
do you know, Jay, do you know where we were ranked like 20
47th.
years ago or 30 years ago to where we were ranked? Maybe.
Uh,
Probably in the top 10, right?
I'm not entirely sure. I could
I think
find
we
that.
were. I mean, I used to hear that. I can't document that right now, but I remember. I'm old enough to remember. We were
Well,
considered one of the top states for businesses.
at one point, yeah, we were basically a tax haven where we were offering companies like no
Wow.
taxes for a
Yeah.
few years if they came here. And then that stopped. And as soon as that stopped, obviously these companies are going to leave. But yeah, so the reason why we're ranked so low is we're 47th in average growth in number of small businesses, which means nobody's really starting businesses. We're 43rd in office space affordability. We're 43rd in labor costs, and that's probably got to do with our high minimum wage
Yeah, we've got
levels.
minimum wage laws. What is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, ours
it's
are one of
it's
the worst, right? The highest, really, the minimum wage laws.
last I checked, it was like 16 or 17 bucks an hour
Oh,
is the
dear
minimum
Lord.
wage. Yeah. Um, we're
It's been going up
30.
like $1 a year. Hasn't it, Jay? Hasn't it been going like $1 a year ever since 2020, or it's been going up a lot. It was like $11 an hour a while ago.
So we're at 16.94 an hour, which is insane. And that's as of January 1st.
Wow, that
It,
is.
it has been going up pretty aggressively. We're 35th in availability of human capital, which is basically just people that can work. We're
Mhm.
43rd in average length of work week in terms of hours, which means people are working longer in this part of the country than a lot of other places. We're 44th in cost of living, and we're 38th in industry variety. So not only is there not a lot of opportunity here, there's not enough people to fulfill the opportunity, and then nobody wants to start a small business. And I can tell you that the cost of starting a small business here are extremely expensive. So there's a lot of factors that are going into this that I think need to be addressed. And the fact that this is on WFSB's website is kind of nice because it means that they're acknowledging it, but they hid it. I had to search this on their website after seeing it
Wow.
pop up on X. So
Yeah.
they post on X, right? And it seems like these networks like to post everything on X first, but then good luck finding it on their website, which means that
Yeah.
people that are just going directly to their website aren't seeing this unless they're like right there on the moment.
Like they do the old
Um,
newspapers. They used to do it with the old newspapers too. They buried in the back in the page C12 in the bottom of the page. Same thing.
right. And I'd like to point out, so you said that these are all liberal states, which is it's funny because the top three states are all conservative controlled. It's Texas, Florida, and Utah are the best
Yeah.
places
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
out of 50. Yeah.
So we really do need to be talking about what policies are beneficial to small businesses and human beings. But yeah,
I
so
think minimum wage is a good place to start with that in terms of the particular issues.
yeah,
Because minimum wage, I think, is one of the easiest things for left wingers to sell to people
Hmm.
as being only fair, and for people who make very little money or on the lower end of the pay scale,
now the
it's
question
awful
is, are the
enticing.
others are
It's
the
the epitome of pandering.
yeah, so we need I think we need a list of things that we know are anti-business, like
The minimum wage.
high minimum wage, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of other
Mm.
things too.
Yeah, but just to say that it's anti-business doesn't speak to the regular people. Like
I'm,
just
Well,
I'm not
like to
worried about
say that
messaging.
but the economics of it is that when you raise the minimum wage too high, business owners respond by leaving or by laying off workers
Yeah.
or going underground hiring illegal workers and things like that. And that's what really hurts the regular working people. So that stuff is the stuff that needs to be communicated on shows like
Yeah,
Common Sense.
is there any knowledge? I mean, I know we lose a lot of young people in Connecticut.
mhm.
Hmm.
That is a thing. Do we have any numbers on that, Jay? Or
Yeah, at one point it was like 50,000 a year is people were leaving the state, and then only like 10,000 were coming back into the state. Let
right,
me
most of them
pull
are
up
from New
this.
York. Just saying.
Yeah,
Mm.
New York is right there on us like a flea.
Yeah,
Like a big
so it's not,
flea.
I was wondering if it was, if the people coming in from New York were making up for the people that were leaving and going to Texas and Florida.
so I don't have a number, but it's telling me the reasons why people have stated they're leaving, which
Okay.
is the cost of living, which is the high property taxes, the income,
Mhm.
sales tax, taxes just in general, economic factors such as job opportunities and overall economic vibrancy,
Mhm.
retirement. A lot of people don't like how expensive it is in retirement up here,
Yeah.
lifestyle and weather. And it says that most people are leaving for Florida or other states like Oklahoma. Uh,
Oklahoma. What?
yeah.
Oklahoma? There's nothing there.
Because there's no damn, because the property tax
There's
isn't even
no
close to what
yeah,
it is in Connecticut.
no taxes,
And,
but there's no taxes, but there's nothing else. It's just a field, a
Hey,
big
if
and
field.
all, if all you want to do is stay home and watch TV or garden, you're fine.
Sure, I guess. Can you grow? Yeah, okay.
it
Sure.
says
Oklahoma.
Twit.
U-Haul does a report, and they said Connecticut consistently ranks in the bottom tier for migration, with over 50% of movers leaving in recent years.
That's who
Which
you
means,
want to ask.
I don't
yeah,
know. Some of
yeah.
them complain about the weather though. Like, how can you complain about the weather in Connecticut? I don't know. I guess my daughter hates the winter,
You know
but
what? I know people that just hate the cold.
yeah,
I
but
like
yeah, I
the
guess.
Mhm.
cold.
But if you think about it though, in terms of safety,
Uh,
I've said this before. Connecticut is in terms of natural disasters, like we get a little taste of a little blizzard or a little taste of a little hurricane or a little
yeah.
taste of a little, we get a tornado every now and then, but
We don't have to
none
worry
of
about
these things,
earthquakes.
like none of these major
No tornadoes.
catastrophes.
Well, sometimes you get a tornado in Bridgeport, apparently.
Yeah, we had one in Windsor Locks that's pretty
Yeah.
bad once. So, but we're not susceptible to them though. And then Long Island protects us from all the major hurricanes essentially and the cold air.
Right.
And and blizzards.
Right.
You don't get real blizzards here. Come on.
Oh, yeah, we
You don't,
do. What do you?
no, we don't
Yes,
get
we
real
do.
blizzards in Connecticut.
What are
Maybe in
you
the Litchfield
talking
Hills once
about?
in a while.
We had that one bad year. What was it 2009 or 2011, where we got hit with
That was a lot of
Oh, I
snow.
remember
Yeah,
that. Oh, I
we
remember
got hit
that.
with a hurricane, a tornado, an
Hurricane
earthquake, and a
Sandy was
blizzard all before Halloween.
the
It was in like a
Halloween
two
storm
month
was really
span.
bad. That's
It
true.
was an exciting year.
Well, no. What happened was in Halloween we got that ice storm and it knocked all the trees over and completely paralyzed our state.
Yeah.
Were you here in 2012 for that one, Selena?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was.
I've been here since
But
2000.
that was yeah, but that wasn't like
Actually, right now, but
that was I've been in Connecticut my whole life, and that to me was the most like was the debilitating thing that ever happened in our state in terms of natural disasters ever was
Yeah,
Halloween. Don't you agree, Jay? The Halloween thing
yeah.
because
It was. I
we
think it
couldn't
was.
nobody could drive anywhere for like 2 days at all. Like the roads were all shut down. Up in Vermont, if that same thing happens all the time, and they have that cleaned out by noon. They got
Yeah,
backhoes and thing everywhere. That happens to them all the time up there.
I think it was a little
We were
before
like,
Halloween
whoa.
because I remember I didn't have power. I was in off campus housing for Central, and we didn't have power for like 9 days the first storm,
Yeah,
and then the second storm it was 11 days.
yeah. We had the same
Um,
boat, and Sandy was the other one.
yeah, it
Sandy
was.
was,
I mean,
yeah.
people died during that storm. I think that's why we have
Sure.
these new laws in place about
Having
EverSource
great
having to
houses on the
clean up.
shoreline.
Yeah, EverSource is now required to put everybody's power back on within 96 hours, or they start facing hourly fines of like
Well,
$25,000 or something
what
like that.
happens is that if you're not there, if they're not keeping the trees pruned, then it'll come
Hmm.
down. Because I
Yeah,
was living in Maine during the ice storm in Maine, and we were out
Yeah.
for 2 weeks. And
yeah.
To be fair
I
to
mean, we're on
the
a
electric companies
peninsula,
though,
so and it was bad.
To be fair to the electric companies, though, keeping the trees all pruned in the forest land of Connecticut is very, very
Well,
hard.
they have to, it's
Very,
like,
very overwhelming task. Even
yeah.
for them. Even for them, it's everywhere.
Well, well, at the same time, if that's what they were worried about, they could have started to invest money into replacing the exterior lines with underground lines, if
Yeah,
that's what they,
that's the answer. That's a good
um,
point.
and
They
that
do
would
that a
have,
lot
I
in
mean,
Canada.
over time, that it would have saved them a ton of money. But like even now in Connecticut, you see certain neighborhoods that have underground lines, and they never lose
A
power
lot of them in
unless something
South Windsor. A lot
happens.
of them in South Windsor. A lot of South Windsor has
Yeah,
underground lines.
yeah. So
Yep.
it's definitely something that they could invest in and slowly start to change over the next 25 years. But I think at this point the state is kind of handled Eversource poorly to the point where we are paying for other states' infrastructure. And they
Yeah.
have come out and said it that we're paying for
I
infrastructure
know.
up
We're
in New
getting milked.
Hampshire
Yep.
because of how much we're using from their electrical kind of grid up in Canada. So
Yeah.
it's it, and that's just one factor, obviously. But if we look at the companies that have left the states, I mean, we're talking Duracell batteries,
Yeah.
United. I have a list of the big ones at least. United Technologies, the Lego Group, which was out of Enfield, they're no longer headquartered
I used to be a
in
security guard there years ago as a young man. They're gone.
General Electric was a
Yeah, they
huge
left a
one.
while ago.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they left in 2016.
Mhm.
We also have Schick, which closed their Milford manufacturing facility, and that was in late 2025. And I remember I actually helped do the roof at that facility when I was in
Oh.
college. Um,
This is a
so
really this is a really valid thing to talk about. This is a very huge point when we talk about the battle between communism and capitalism. Well, this is capitalism being shown the door here in the state
yeah,
of Connecticut with nasty tax policies.
well, Aetna left in 2017, but once they bought CVS, they kept the CVS presence here, but they
Yeah,
moved Aetna out, which we're the insurance capital of the world. The fact that we're losing insurance companies
yeah,
is crazy.
it's crazy.
Um,
That's
So
so
one of the things that makes it really hard to start a business is the price of electricity, which our electricity rates are, everybody knows about the electricity rates. We don't usually have to say anything. It's like we know.
right,
It's like the
right,
public, that extra special tax that we get to pay.
yeah,
But it would, we can't, what's really killing me personally is that we can't seem to get a freaking pipeline here because it's like it's either got to come through New York up through Pennsylvania or it's got to
mhm,
come down from Canada through Massachusetts. And
hmm
neither of
right,
those governments are willing to say. Now that's nice for Ned Lamont because he's like, oh, both sides here, they've got.
Lord Fauntleroy over there.
Yeah,
yeah,
he doesn't have to have a stance on that because Maura Healey on one side and what's her name on the other side
Yeah,
are, keeping anything from happening. And Trump really he wanted to get a pipeline in New England. Yeah, that was part of his original plan. And it's like New York won't, it's like and this isn't just Connecticut that's got this problem. It's all of New England has this problem.
yeah,
We shut
yeah.
down all of the nuclear plants except for Millstone. And thank God they're still there, or we'd be messed. Millstone is 25% of Connecticut's power.
This is
yeah.
a direct connection to the lack of business enterprise in Connecticut too. It's
Yeah.
not unrelated. It's absolutely
Yeah.
direct. Yep.
Well, and
And
and this kind of adds to your point though, with us being 47th, I mean, we're second or third nationally in terms of energy costs per year annually.
uh,
So so
it,
when you
we're
We're
look
already
at it,
hemorrhaging it. We're hemorrhaging it.
yeah,
What about
yeah,
AI though? Is there any data on what we're doing in AI in Connecticut? We hear about what Trump's doing nationwide with
there's
AI.
data centers here.
yeah, that's it. And that's
They,
what's costing so much money for electrical usage.
Okay.
Is we pay rates basically to supplement a lot of these data companies. And unfortunately, this is Eversource making deals with Microsoft and Amazon and then making us pay for it. And that's where the oversight needs to come in.
hmm
And the problem is Pura just wasn't doing their job, which is why what's her face is no longer coming back to her position, is because she clearly wasn't doing anything to help her cause. And obviously, the state is not going in the right direction. If businesses are moving out, businesses aren't starting, and then the electrical costs are going through the nose. And a lot of it, if you look at a bill, it's like a lot of it's not even for the electrical use, it's for all these other taxes that they're forcing us to pay.
and delivery.
Yeah.
The delivery is pretty crazy too. I don't even know how
Yeah.
to, yeah. Like, oh
It's
wow,
like,
is this all infrastructure or what's going on here?
well, it's the public benefits of us paying for people that can't afford to keep their electricity on. That's what they're
Yeah.
charging us
But yeah,
for.
'cause- yeah, I know they didn't charge people during COVID. Oh, hey, you don't have to pay your electric bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's also the law that if you don't pay between October and April, they can't turn off your power.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Sure.
a lot of people just decide not to pay their electrical bill between
Yeah.
October
Oh, I
and
know someone who did that.
yeah.
Yeah, but
I
weren't these things true even 20, 30 years ago, though? They were obviously passing the cost off for them back then. Well, why did the rates, double and triple over the last 5 years, though? COVID, I guess COVID's the answer. They
It's
use it,
not
not
it's
the COVID itself, the excuse of COVID.
no, it's not COVID. It's we did have pipeline here originally.
It's
We
the
did
pipeline,
and
Tell me
yeah,
more about that. I don't know about
politics.
that.
yeah, we had a pipeline that went through basically from Litchfield County all the way down to like the Stamford area.
Huh.
And it was directly from New York, and from New York it was going up to Canada. And again, they have done everything they can to squash our state, and then we try to put up wind the
Huh.
turbines, but obviously turbines aren't effective the way that
No.
natural or nuclear power is. So Long Island Sound got pissed off that we wanted to put turbines up, so they put a federal stop to it by filing an
Good.
injunction. We don't have any fields or farms that are exclusively solar power. Like I know in Massachusetts, you can drive by on the highway and you can see large farms that are just solar panels
Yeah.
that are just so if 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 Elon was right with his assessment, you could take an area smaller than the state of Connecticut and turn it into a huge solar farm, and it'd be enough power for the entire United States throughout
Wow,
the
that
year.
sounds if he's right about that, that's awesome. But it doesn't sound right to me.
The problem is the transmission, and
Yeah,
I admit I'm very
I'm
skeptical of
skeptical
that.
about that.
Right.
I know he's a really smart guy, but it's like I've seen other math that doesn't agree with that.
Oh,
Hmm.
I agree. I'm just simply stating that
Yeah.
He said,
if that's the theory, then why aren't we even trying here? What
"Well,
and
But
that's a fair question."
isn't the future in like what they're doing was I know that Trump is letting new factories that are being built their own energy systems where they can create their own electricity right on
Yeah,
site.
there was just
So
something
maybe that's the
about
answer
that.
for residences too somehow. Like what if we improve the home generation system somehow? I know that would upset the
right.
electric companies too much. That's why we don't do that.
Hmm.
But that really is
Well,
ultimately the answer, is it not?
well,
I
if
think.
you have if you have solar now, I mean, you still have to pay an electrical
Or
bill,
even
even
so,
Yes,
even if
yes,
you
I
have
do.
a
I
even
have
if you have a
solar in
natural
my
gas
house.
powered, even if you have
yeah.
natural gas, or even if the same power that's used to heat your home can be used to, ultimately create electricity for your home through. I'm sure there's technology for that, and that's
There
something.
is. There's
Yeah,
geothermal heating is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big one. And that's just for heat though. What that does is it takes the hot water, it turns it into cold water in the summer, and then it takes the cold water and turns it into hot water in the winter just by going through the ground. And I don't know how it truly works, but I just know that
Well,
it's
if a factory can generate its own electricity on site, so can a home ultimately.
yeah, yeah. But again, like in Connecticut, right, we've got all these older homes that are still electric. I think if anything, we need to slowly start to turn these homes from electric to something else. But I know they don't want oil, they don't want gas because they're saying that's worse for the environment. Well, that's fine, but electric is so expensive that these businesses don't want to keep paying these extremely high bills on utilities, right? Because if you think you're a business, I mean, if you've got 25 people in an office, you're paying for all those computers,
Right.
you're paying for the heat, you're paying for fridges, microwaves,
Yeah.
coffee machines, everything under the
Air
sun. And
conditioners suck a lot
exactly,
of.
and
exactly.
I want to talk about energy density for a minute, because the amount of power that gets produced. I mean, you can talk about it's like, oh, solar or wind or whatever. The problem is that you need so many solar panels to actually run, say, a factory where you have big machinery. I would ask if Elon Musk is running any of his actual factories where he's doing manufacturing on all solar. I'm going to go with he's not. I'd have a lot of, it's like, you got to show me the math on that because I don't buy it.
Elon makes a lot of lofty dreams that I don't think are really
Yeah,
real.
which is fine. He gets to do
It's
that.
good. It's not a
Yeah.
bad thing. I'm not putting him
But
down.
we, if we're talking about how much energy is produced from say solar panels. And I have solar panels on my roof. So
Mhm.
it's like, can those solar panels run my house for, because you know what? The last snowstorm, they weren't generating anything
Yeah.
because they were
Right.
covered with snow. I just drove up to Maine. I'm in Maine right now. And I drove up to Maine and I'm driving by some of those nice fields full of solar panels and they're all covered with snow.
See,
So
there's
Right.
the way that they can't.
generating
The problem
anything.
with solar
Right.
is you can't store the energy, right? You got to
Yeah.
have it right there on
You
the
can
We
spot.
no,
don't,
you can. You just got to buy those big batteries that are
yeah.
expensive
And
to
that's
Yeah,
buy.
nice for a house, which I got to
that's
tell you, there's
that's the
no
point where
way
that
I am putting a lithium battery in my house. That's not
right. But that's where the rubber
happening.
meets the road, though, in terms of
Yeah.
technology. Maybe 5 or 10 years from now, there'll be something we could put in our
Yeah,
house,
I mean, there is some new battery technology coming up.
right?
Mhm.
But in terms of energy density, we need to go back to nuclear. And
Yeah,
they're
Yeah.
doing some great work with nuclear, but that's
probably
still
not in Connecticut, though.
that's
So
down the road.
it's funny you say that. There are electricians from Connecticut that are specialized electricians that are going out to work on this solution out in Wyoming.
Oh,
My electrician, I'm not going to say his name, he has spent a significant amount of time out in Wyoming working at this nuclear power plant to basically he's working with Microsoft and I think the Department of Defense on creating a solution to make it so that you can run electricity at a lower cost and have that electricity basically regenerate itself
mhm.
through this complex system. So he's one of a few certified electricians in the country that can do this. So we've got Connecticut people on the job out in Wyoming, and it's got promising applications, and they're
Okay.
going to use it hopefully for a lot of these data centers because what it is Microsoft is building their own nuclear power plants
Yeah. Yeah,
to to
I understand that they actually contracted with state of
Bill
Pennsylvania.
Gates is getting nukes.
You-
Great.
Well, yeah, I know. I'm not really happy
yeah.
about that either, but
Well,
but
Bill Gates
Mike
doesn't work for Microsoft anymore.
more, no, I think
Yeah, well, it's still Bill
but yeah,
Gates.
Microsoft actually they're restarting 3 Mile Island,
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I
um,
heard
which is
that.
which
Now,
is
wasn't one of the pylons always running? Now they're starting the other two, something like that.
no, they had shut the
No.
whole thing down and
yeah.
they're restarting. I can't remember if it's one or two because they were two.
Okay.
And by the way, I lived 60 miles from there when that incident happened. Everything was fine. Everything worked exactly the way it was supposed to, and people freaked out.
Yeah.
Nothing actually wrong with it. I mean, there's cleanup to be done in the one reactor, but the other one was fine. Oh, I
Well,
know.
hey, but just real quick, just on the subject of sinister, terrible people like Bill Gates, Fauci, the sinister, terrible man.
Yeah.
They're out on Facebook now and on social media. There's quotes from him years before the COVID saying, "Hey, it's best just to get the disease. Don't worry about the vaccine."
Mhm.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Anyway, I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there because I was thinking of Gates and Fauci, what a
So,
scumbag he is. But go ahead.
part of what helped with the cost of electricity and natural gas going up was the fact that it was deregulated in 1998
hmm,
for the utility companies, and
Okay.
then in New England we have a strong reliance on oil, gas, and electricity compared to other parts of the country
hmm,
where we can't generate the way that other places can because of the weather. And we've seen natural gas spikes increase from 2022 onwards, and it was really right around 2022, which you saw all of our electricity going up in
Yeah.
price significantly
Yeah.
year over year. So it's really only been a factor for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, we already had high costs because we're
hmm.
basically we don't have the negotiating area because we're constrained by the fact that they can jack their prices up and we can't really do anything about it. But
Dramatically.
if the state had decided to invest and we had gone to Trump in his first term or we had gone to Biden in his term, we could have started to get federal funding to put some of this stuff together. But the problem is when you have Biden, who's, I mean, I don't know what his role was in anything really, because what the reports have come out that he really didn't have a mind and he wasn't really doing
Yeah,
anything. But
he
they
was,
had that whole green, what was it, the green energy bill that they were trying to pass, which
yeah,
would have basically eliminated anything outside of
Yeah.
electricity.
Right.
So
It's much worse.
yeah,
So,
so
yeah, never
so
mind.
now we need somebody like an Aaron Stewart to come in and say, I got to make energy a priority, and I have to make small business and the economy in the state a priority, and start working with the Trump administration on getting federal funding here so that we can
Uh,
fix this problem.
so
Whoever's
give, so the,
whoever's
give,
going to be the governor needs to be doing that, and Lamont is not showing any signs of doing so.
so
So
Right.
isn't that and the issue of affordability? Shouldn't that be a home run for a candidate?
you'd think,
I
yeah.
mean, you think? I mean,
Yeah.
listen, back before the COVID, back before people used to argue about whether the electricity rates were going to go up at all or go up 2% or 3%, they've been going up 50%, 100%. So this so I think that should be a home run for Republicans or anyone against them against the incumbency in terms of affordability. But will it be? That's the question, you know.
It
Well,
and I think we're at that point where even if it's not a Republican running, if it's a Democrat that's running with a strong fiscal understanding and a strong business sense, it's somebody that people would vote for. So it's really we
People
just
used
need
to think
somebody that's
about
going
that
to
with Lamont. It's like, oh, he's a business. That's what my husband always say. Oh, he's a businessman.
yeah,
Yeah.
but nobody like in this. But let's be realistic, Jay, about one thing. In this atmosphere, political atmosphere we have in America right now, no one's going to step up for the Democrats and say, "Hey, I'm a conservative, fiscally guy, and I'm gonna, small business." They're gonna turn them into a they're gonna eat him alive. Guys like Mandami and Sanders and the people that are controlling the party are gonna eat the guy alive. So
well, those aren't strong fiscal candidates. Those are more socialist and communist type
that's my point,
people.
though. Like the party has been taken over by those types. So
Okay, well, let's put it this way. So one of the biggest allies on the Democratic side to the Republicans is John Fetterman, right? We all know
yeah,
who that
that's the
is.
guy. Like if he ran for governor, maybe he'd have a shot. But
And
But
they
he's
would
do
going
we
to be
do
in Pennsylvania, darling.
they'd put him in a paddy
right?
wagon,
Well,
right? They
well,
put him in a
here's
paddy wagon.
here's the thing. Do you know where he went to school?
No, to
I
tell.
know.
He graduated from UConn with his MBA.
No
Did
kidding.
He
okay.
did.
Let's get him up here
So
running for governor.
so, but
What about McCogney?
But
Get
but
that
I'm just
bummer.
saying, like he learned his business sense in Connecticut at the public schools in Connecticut. So
Yeah.
if that's telling you that even Democrats that are getting their MBA,
It's
whether
not
it's
hopeless.
20, 30 years ago,
Not
we
hopeless,
we
right?
we know what we have to do here. It's just I think the voters just don't care anymore. I think they are
You're right
glad that
there.
they're glad that they have their people in power, and maybe they don't. I mean, honestly, like a lot of people just don't care because they're going to move out for retirement. So it's the whole kick it
Or
down the road.
they don't care until it goes belly up and it affects them directly. They don't feel like it affects them directly as much. That's the thing.
Well, it's gonna
Right.
because as you've seen, Gen Z is staying with parents a lot longer than it
Right.
was
They're
And the
not.
before. And
the nuclear family is being broken up is what's happening.
Uh,
well, it's people just can't afford houses in the state, and we're not building new houses either. So a
Direct
lot of the
assault on the nuclear
industries,
family.
I mean, so when you talk about it, a lot of the industries have closed up shop here, and then a lot of the big headquartered companies have left, which means that there's not the jobs that are high paying here, and the housing market has continued to gone up in price. So if we've got less jobs, lower paying jobs, and a less skilled and intelligent working group of human capital, obviously we're destined to fail from a voting perspective and from an economic perspective. And we're
Right.
basically following the same lines that happened in Rhode Island several years ago when they had to file for bankruptcy. It's the exact same recipe. And it's not even that. Like, if you look at Greece and how Greece had to basically borrow as much as they did from the EU,
right.
we're basically on that same path, and it's because nobody has put any pressure on Lamont or Malloy to get anything done. And Malloy was basically he I mean this is gonna sound crass, but he put his dick out on the table and he just said fuck you guys to Amazon and everybody else that wanted to come in here and keep their headquarters here. He said we don't fucking need you, get the fuck out. Well, unfortunately we do. We
Like a
need
good
these
communist.
billionaires. We need these billionaires to live in the state. We need these huge corporations to be here because even if we're not charging them full tax rates, if we're charging them even a fraction of a percentage, it's still better for the state because it's keeping the jobs here. And people will pay tax on their income that work for these companies. So you talk about trickle down economics. That's kind of what the basis was in the state of Connecticut is not charging the companies an income tax, knowing that the people that are working for them are going to pay the tax to make up for it.
Mhm.
That's how it worked. That's what made our state so strong from a business perspective. Now, I couldn't tell you what the plan is. I don't think they ever even talk about this.
I
It's
think
really,
I've
let's
heard.
I
just
know what their
talk
plan
about some
is.
social problems.
Their plan is to destroy it. That's the plan. and get as many people to rely on the government as possible to survive and create a nanny state police state is what they're trying to do, trying to implement destroy the American way of life. That's what they're doing. Let's be real. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
And why would they
And
do so? Why are they cutting up? Why are they cutting their own risks by turning away companies like Duracell and Amazon? Duracell should we shouldn't have lost those companies. We should GE. My goodness.
And
right.
let's,
So
and
Well,
that's
I'm going to
not
bring up,
incompetence. That's deliberate.
yeah, and I'm going to bring up the various firearms companies that we used to have in Connecticut
Yeah.
that
mhm.
aren't here anymore. So, and it's going to depend
Both.
on how I'm sure some of our listeners are not, up on the Second Amendment. And, at some point I might talk about Sandy Hook, but maybe I won't do that here. Maybe I'll
That
just,
is quite a topic.
yeah, because that's quite a topic. And
Mhm.
Well,
it might be better if
it,
I just like give my opinion and get out. So,
yeah, we don't want to get Alex Jones in this in this podcast. But no,
good.
I mean, I think
My
part of it
opinion is
was
even more controversial than his. I think.
what when Sandy Hook did happen, I think we were aggressive with passing gun regulations, which is why a lot of the manufacturers kind of just said
Exactly.
fuck you to the
Exactly.
state.
Yeah.
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 Because Ruger left immediately thereafter. That
Yeah. And
immediate. But then it wasn't that long after Mossberg left too. So,
Speaking of that, My son and I have decided we're going to go for a pistol permit.
oh, good.
Yeah, I've never owned a gun. Had a gun.
Oh,
I'm like Wyatt Earp, man. I don't need. Isn't Wyatt Earp was the one that didn't need one? I think he was the one. There was one guy that ruled without having one. Well, I ruled my
no,
kid.
Wyatt Earp, I think that Val Kilmer played him in that movie.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no, that was no, he wasn't Wyatt Earp. That was
It was
oh shoot, brain fart.
Billy the Kid.
No, no, definitely not. Just give me a minute, it'll come back to me.
Well, we're going to go for it because we want to document it on one of our shows. So
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah,
a good idea. It's
He,
you have to do the safety class, and that's good.
yeah.
My
I took the safety class in '09. So, but I'm
Doc
also going to take it
Holliday.
now.
Doc Holliday. Yes, thank you.
Doc
Yeah.
Holliday, he's the one without the gun. There you go.
No.
No,
He
no, no,
used the
no, no.
gun.
He was the brilliant one with the gun. And
Yeah, it
George
was
Ramos
Wyatt Earp
stole
was the
that movie.
sheriff.
Without the
Yeah,
gun,
yeah,
right? He's the
Yeah.
one that
Oh,
didn't.
yes.
He was the
Doug
one that didn't
Ramos
need the gun.
stole
Yep.
that movie. It was
yeah.
awesome.
So,
So,
just looking at some other stats. So we are number two or number three, depending on what report you look at for electricity costs. We're
oh,
number four for minimum wage, right? So we're
wow.
High.
setting,
Yeah.
we're at the bottom for the worst things that you could possibly be at the bottom for, and that's reflecting in our growth, and that's why
Property
companies don't
taxes?
want to come
Got a
here.
list for property taxes?
I can look it up. Yeah, so I think Texas is pretty high with property taxes, but it's because they don't have an income tax.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. I thought there was only. I think at some point there were only two or three states that tax your vehicle, but now apparently there's a lot more than that. There's like 26
Yeah.
states that do that. Used to be
There's
only a
no
couple
state
of
that
them.
doesn't have some form
I
of
was
property
shocked.
tax, and
w-
almost
uh,
all of them have one.
Taxing someone's vehicle is such a tax on people that don't have a lot of people that have cars that don't have any money.
Yeah.
so we are
That's a really bad
number
tax to do on people's
three
vehicles.
for property tax.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are we ahead of Texas?
We are
Probably.
behind New Jersey and Illinois only.
Oh, what a
Um,
surprise.
Okay.
yeah, and Texas is number six. So I wasn't far off with them, but they don't have an income tax. So we also
Yeah.
have an income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got
And
both.
we have and we have a pretty high sales tax, and amongst all the other taxes that we hit. So yeah, I think we've been taxed to death, and I think companies have been taxed to death. And because people keep getting taxed to death, companies keep getting taxed to death. Nobody wants to live here anymore.
Mm.
And what you have left is you have the people that are just they want to live off the state. And I know people on the left are going to say, "Oh well, we actually pay the federal government more than they pay us in terms of taxes." It's like, well, yeah, that's because you charge us so much. But why do I don't want to supplement somebody in like New York because we're paying so much in taxes, right? I want that
Seriously.
money to come back to us. I
Well,
mean,
yeah. What's
you look,
worse than the taxes is what they're using the money for. It makes it even more of a salt in the wound. Actually,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Well,
fraud.
when Jody Rowe left office, we had a surplus in pretty much every major state budget, and
Wow.
That's true.
we had
We had a rainy day fund,
yeah, we had
The hell's
we
that?
were in a
emergency
rainy
fund.
day fund. Oh my God, we had like $350 million left over in the DOT fund.
Yeah.
Wow.
They were yeah, so and that's just the DOT. And now you look at the road system now, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
They've changed up how they're doing roads. They've changed up how they're doing any type of maintenance out there.
We're being robbed and
Um,
defrauded is what's going on.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, it again, I don't have the numbers. I can see what they're paying all these people, and what they're paying people at the state is pretty ridiculous now. Because it used to be like
Yeah.
you were lucky to make $75,000 a year. Now it seems like you're
Everyone's
lucky
making
to only
150.
you're lucky to only start at seventy-five thousand
Right.
dollars, which is unfortunate. But when the state's paying so much in salaries, I mean, I think we looked at this a while back where
Buying
the
loyalty.
state the state fund for salaries is like something crazy, like $600 million a year out of the $4+ billion
Yeah,
budget for
pretty,
the general funds.
and the state is the biggest employer in the state. Uh,
Yeah,
this
That's insane.
it is insane because it
yeah,
makes no sense. You're on the wrong side of the pyramid here.
right,
It's the math doesn't work. The math isn't working
right,
on this.
right. Because you got to figure
Yeah,
Fraud.
states only make money from our money. And so
yeah,
where's the state getting the funds to pay all these people that work for them?
as
Be,
as
exactly,
We talked
exactly.
about the fraud going on in Minnesota, going on in Maine, going on in these other blue states. Well, if it happened in one place, it can
the
happen in another.
fraud's
It's happening
everywhere.
here. Of
It's everywhere.
course, it's
It's not
happening
Oh
just
here.
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
everywhere. It's just
everywhere.
it's shown up. I mean,
It's actually not just blue states; it's happening in red states too.
Well, and they're
But
not really auditing either. I think that's one of the first things that got cut with the recent budget passes is they're no longer auditing this stuff, which is just crazy to me because that should be like required in every constitution where you have to audit the
Mhm.
budget. And really, how hard is it to just say you have to have a balanced budget every year
Right,
or aim for a balanced budget at the bare minimum?
well,
Um,
we've never had the requirement for a balanced budget, certainly not
right.
federally, and there's nothing in Connecticut, you know.
balanced budget amendment. We got to write it down for the Constitution. Is it 2028? They're having the Constitutional
It is,
Convention
yeah, yeah.
requirement.
For Connecticut, it's 2028.
There you go. Put it on the
Yeah.
list. Cha-ching.
Yeah,
We need a balanced budget amendment. Essentially, that was a national issue
yeah,
back in the '90s. It never happened.
yeah.
Right. Well, I also think that a lot of this stuff is very alarming that people on the left should be alarmed by this because it's not just people on the right that own businesses. People on the left own businesses or they
Yeah.
still they still want to grow in their career ladder. And
Yeah.
when you've got companies like GE taking tens of thousands of jobs out of the state, they're
Mm,
taking those employees with them. So we're losing those people. We're
yeah.
losing not only the company, but then the people that are working for them are moving to Massachusetts,
Hmm.
right? So we've got to figure out a way to get companies back into the state. We've got to, I
That's
mean,
good.
Cigna came back, but they came back because they were offered a 10-year sweetheart deal with no taxes for 10 years. And that's coming up soon because that was under Malloy, so we don't have that much longer left under that deal before they'll probably move back down to Pennsylvania.
Oh my
Um,
God. What about Betsy? Let's talk about Betsy McCogney running for governor. McCogney, her
Boy,
name,
it's McCoy.
right? McCoy?
It's McCoy.
Well, how come it says McCogney everywhere?
Because that's how their name is spelled. That's not how it's pronounced.
Oh, it's just pronounced McCoy.
Correct.
Interesting. God, I got to
Correct.
look at that again. I'm a grammar connoisseur. I got to look at that word again.
Yeah,
Where
well,
McCoy comes from. Okay,
I listened to her
that's
speak.
easier for me. That's easier for everybody.
I listened to her speak, so I know that's how her name is pronounced.
I don't think Aaron Stewart's the girl, Jack.
was she I've said that from the start. I
I
said she
know.
shouldn't have been running. I don't think she has the
Well, you said
cojones.
someone like Aaron Stewart. I
Um,
mean, come on. Aaron Stewart is not the girl.
because she's the one she's announced it. So I'm just saying,
Yeah,
like,
no,
if
I
you
know. She's the only
announced
one we
it,
got
If
right
you were going to
now.
announce it, at least, this is something that she could say that would be useful, It would
I think she's
exactly,
in
get
bed
us
with
exactly.
teachers union. She's definitely in bed with the teachers union. Her statements about education I've heard recently on social media sound like they were just handed to her by a teachers union executive. I mean, I can't tell you how much, but
Well,
I like McCoy. I like
they're not going to
McCoy.
vote for her anyway.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't think she's
The
going
te that's what you got to realize about these unions, Jay, is in politics, they're gonna talk to both people
of
and
course.
they're gonna get them to say what they want, and then they're gonna go back on their word and vote for the other politician anyway.
No, I know. I get that.
So,
I get that. Which
to.
is why Aaron's
Totally
not the
true.
girl.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
I'm not saying Aaron doesn't want. I think Aaron has a. I don't think Aaron's a left winger or anything like that. I think she probably wants to help Connecticut on some level. She just doesn't have it. She's not doesn't have the it. That's all there is to it. They'll run her over the mill like a ground mill mist. Forget about it. That's
Yeah,
why let's look at McCoy and see a little bit more about her. You know, one
I
of the things
mean,
we'd like to do with the podcast network is to do an embed. You know, do an embed reporting on
Well,
McCoy's
when you get
campaign,
that
or
done,
on Viveros, or
when
on
you yeah,
even on Lancia. You know, like see what, or even on
that's a good way to do it.
Amy.
Yeah, yeah,
You
I
know,
like it.
embed reporting. So we need someone who's got time, like people who have got time. That's one of the things we're going to work on anyway. Hope it
Mm.
happens. You know, so we'll be in contact with their campaigns. So let's get look. That's what let's have transparency. Once
Yeah,
oh,
again, in
see,
campaigning, little platitudes aren't going to work. Lamont's little platitudes aren't going to work. We need like a Joe. Not even forget about Joe Rogan, but something in common with him, with a 3 hour, 4 hour,
mm.
5 hour, maybe longer time with your candidate and what they're actually doing, what's
yeah.
going on. Let's get to the bottom of it.
Well, I think that the problem with that is we don't have anybody in the state that is at that level for the like a Joe Rogan in the state right
We're
now.
working on it.
Um,
We're working
yeah, I
on
mean,
it.
but
They've got to want to do
podcasts,
it.
yeah,
I'll tell you
That's
about how
good.
I have almost 3,000 views on something that happened yesterday. We'll talk about in a little while.
it's really it's getting the college voters. I mean, we saw the right really take control of the college voters, especially the
Last
men,
year. Yeah.
during the last cycle. So if we can get that ammunition back up to where it was, they're going to be the strongest point for getting a Republican elected in the state of
The
Connecticut.
key to doing that is what we talked about earlier, affordable housing. That has got to happen by November. That
It's
happened by November.
that's just one key, but you got to realize these
That's
kids
a
need
big one that's
jobs,
a big one for young kids though, like trying to start families. You know, what's
right?
the
But they
word of
can't.
Charlie Kirk? What's Charlie Kirk's word? You know what I mean? How can they do that if they can't afford the housing?
How can they do that if they can't get a job,
That
right?
too. You're
You
right. That
can't.
too. Absolutely. And it goes back to the
So
business. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so we've got some serious issues that need to get cleaned up, and I think we should be in panic mode. Whether or not you're voting on the left or the right, you need to be in panic mode because this is not
Things
something that
are
we can
not
continue to
good.
push.
Yeah,
Right,
there's a
Right.
bunch that is not good here.
A lot
right.
that is not good.
Yeah.
Corrupt wise too.
Yeah, I didn't even realize Frontier Communications was based out of Connecticut, as well as Campbell Soup, and they both left. I mean, we can't even keep soup here. Like,
Well,
Let me ask you this.
you
What
hear
other
about Campbell's lately?
all
They're
right, now I gotta
oh, I
ask the
know.
question.
They yeah.
I
they're
gotta
in
ask the
trouble.
question now. I gotta ask the question. What companies are left that are big in Connecticut? Any? Bic? Is Bic still here?
Stanley,
Stanley, Bic, right? The name brand stuff.
Wiffle, Wiffle,
Wiffle
Wiffle
balls?
Ball. Yeah.
Okay, I was a big wiffle
Wow.
ball. 83 home
Subway.
runs in 1981, baby.
Subway is still here. I think they're based out of Milford. We still have the Groton Sub Base, which is on a fantastic DoD That's the only company or place of employment that the state has worked overtime to keep year in and year out, by the way.
Right.
Um, but yeah, there's not a lot of big operations because even Travelers, I mean, yeah, they've got a building here, but their main headquarters is now out of Minnesota. They're out of the Twin Cities. So Hartford is still here,
Oh,
unfortunately, but they're not in Hartford anymore. They're
kind of for
in
them hard for them to
Hartford,
leave.
Windsor. What, the Hartford?
The Hartford. The
Yeah.
Hartford now out of Sacramento. No, I'm not gonna go to Sacramento. They're not gonna go anywhere to be, Hartford.
Well,
Hartford out of Houston, Texas.
I mean, you know what Cigna stands for, right? It's like the
Oh,
Connecticut Insurance Group Network
Yeah,
Association or
it's
something like that. Yeah, they
it's
were
no,
based
it's
out of Philadelphia. So I mean,
yeah, yeah. You're right. They are
so
based out of Philadelphia. That's correct.
they were. They're now up here, but I'm just saying, like Cigna, which has
That's where they
Connecticut
started out of Philadelphia, though.
in
Yeah,
its name, was at one point based out of Philly before it moved back up here. So it's embarrassing, and they want to say like, oh, don't worry, these businesses leave, but that happens all the time, and businesses are going to come and
that's
replace them.
bull.
yeah. Well, they're
Well,
coming back. So,
according to
That's
the
bull.
stats, not only are they leaving, but nobody's replacing them because nobody
Yeah,
wants to start a business
where
here.
all the big ones coming? It's not an ebb and flow thing going on here. Where's all these big businesses coming in?
Right.
That's not how it
And
works. That's not how it works. You build a huge infrastructure. You don't just pack up and leave
mm,
for no
well,
reason other than
I mean,
taxes, being taxed out of here.
we can afford to have these big corporations leave if it means that we're going to have more small businesses start and be successful here. But the
yeah.
problem is
None of that. We're
not
yeah,
only are we not getting small businesses to start here, but corporations are not willing to move here.
right.
So it's your whole plan of, oh yeah, don't worry, they'll leave and then we'll have small businesses come and Main Street will take over. Main Street has basically been like, Yeah, we're vacant now. We're gonna go to all these states and formulate in other states, and then maybe operate in Connecticut.
And
I
then
mean,
the other thing, they
even
make it impossible to start your own business here as well. They make it impossible to grow a business here as
Yeah,
well. So no
yeah.
yeah,
homegrown, nothing coming in, nothing homegrown.
the fact that they charge property taxes for businesses every year, where you're paying on your computers and
Your
desks and
pens and
furniture.
pencils.
Yeah,
Same.
it's so ridiculous. And Massachusetts is the same way. And I'm like, you guys are jackasses. Why are you making me do a full accounting audit of what everything is worth in my office when I already bought it, I already paid the sales tax on it. Why am I now paying property tax on this as well every year?
Because they can.
Right, right.
Oh, because they've gotten, well,
Because
I
they
mean,
can. That's right.
they're actually, this, I'm gonna get a sideways a little bit here, but in terms of property taxes, they're now talking about charging farmers the same property tax that they charge to residential homes. And it's like, oh, you want to drive the farmers out too?
Yeah, what they're doing to farmers is insane. They're going to triple, right? Triple their
Double
taxes.
or triple. I mean, it's crazy. It's like, well,
Well, they're trying to create again a state, a nanny state of dependent
people who are
citizens on the
sick,
government. That's
not
what they're
helping
trying to
people
do.
want to actually buy anything local that might be healthy. So,
Mm.
uh,
So they used to be pretty much tax free,
yeah.
tax exempt,
Hmm.
and then they slowly started to tax them. So, and I saw that the farmers in Connecticut are going down to Hartford, or they did go down to Hartford to protest.
Good.
So, if you're pissing off the farmers, I mean, what's the biggest thing they always say runs the economy? Guns and butter. And
I
we
hadn't heard
already
that
we
People need
already
to know that college kids need to know that. UConn's
we
a very
already
big
lost the
agriculture.
guns, and now they're trying to have us lose the butter. So,
UConn's always been big for it. UConn has always
You
been
know
known
what I
for its
think the farmers should do?
agriculture.
I should think the farmers should do what they're doing in France right now, which is take lots of
yep,
manure and go spray it around in Hartford.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, but with isn't UConn known most for its agricultural? They're very well known for their agricultural department and stuff like that. So maybe we should make that
Yeah.
connection with the youth of UConn. What's going on with the farmers here?
Hmm.
You know,
Well, I can tell you right now,
they don't care about
based
the
off of
protests.
based off of everything going on in the state of Connecticut, I have a feeling that most of the students in UConn are gonna most likely end up coming out of college as a Republican because they see what the state's doing to them before they even get a job, and they don't want that. So the only way for them to correct that is to vote for the other side.
As long as they know,
So,
well, as long as they're not being handed a bowl of goods on campus, though. As long as they
right.
know
Well,
what's going on.
I mean,
There's an awful lot of new Charlie Kirk chapters, so
Yeah.
Turning Point chapters. So
turning points,
The
yeah,
walk away. There's the walk away movement, and there's
yeah,
the
there's that.
the turning point. I think are two movements that we need to make points of contact with in terms of the movement and coordinate with those two organizations. So they're very good in converting again confused Democrats who once were reasonable people will now see a bunch of honestly nutty people taking over their party. And what's going on
yeah.
here? The walk away movement is really a big one.
Well, and that's what kind of annoys me about Erin Stewart is she's supposed to be this young, energetic millennial, and her team around her just doesn't seem all that intelligent
Mm-mm.
because I haven't heard anything from her. I never see her pop up on X unless I'm on
Like,
a
where's the social
political
media
account.
presence?
I've
Right.
seen her on,
Shows
she's
up
on
a little
TikTok.
couple times for me on X. I mean,
I've
one
seen her.
follows
I'm
her.
following her. I've seen her. She's on Facebook, on TikTok. She does little videos.
Okay.
But that's on her actual page. I'm saying she's not running any advertisements showing her stuff. Like
No.
she's got zero marketing awareness, zero brand identity, and from a business perspective, you're not going to get people to watch your stuff if you want them to just go to your page or follow you. What
Mm.
you do is you put out advertisements and say please like or follow my social medias,
Mm-hmm.
then you get people to follow you. But she's not putting anything out there that is being paid for so that it's getting in front of more eyes. Not only that, but based off of the stuff that you've told us about how she seemed to like take offense and have kind of a soft
Yeah. Why do you
personality.
hate me? She asked.
Yeah, that's
All I
just
do is ask her questions. I never,
that's a Gen Z thing, right?
Yeah.
If she wants to win this, she needs to have Gen X and millennials, older millennials, really running her campaign for her because they're
Mhm.
the ones that are going through all these problems and understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like she's got younger people working for her that just are not in tune with the rest of us. And you can talk about the talking points like, oh, the high cost of living and oh, look what I did in New Britain, but it's like that's nothing. I mean, you're talking
Nothing.
about almost 4 million people that you're going to be in control of, and that's 4 million livelihoods, right? That's a lot. And to not really market yourself or really talk about the issues or put these issues front and center, she's got the opportunity to make these issues, right? She can turn
Right.
anything into an issue
The
if
important
she
ones.
if she markets it, right? And
Don't
that
touch the
way,
cultural warfare stuff. It's all
right.
surface issues.
Well, in marketing, it's called top of mind, right? If you're the first to market, you
That's
have the best chance of selling because
right.
you're first to market.
Yep.
If she's not first to market on anything, she's
No.
not even trying to be. I just don't think she's got the marketing capabilities behind her to understand this. And that's where people in business, people with an MBA, like what I'm doing, would be her strongest asset to getting her front and center and saying, listen, these aren't issues that are being talked about. But what you need to do is you need to turn an anthill into a
Amen.
mountain. You need to take a small
Mhm.
issue and amplify it because that's what the left do all the time. And the left are normally doing it first, and especially when you have a cycle where Republicans have lost time and time again, why aren't they attacking the left? Because the left doesn't fear the right now because they're just controlling everything. So if
Right.
you've got somebody that's got the opportunity to start turning every little thing the left does into this huge problem, you don't blame the left. You just say that these are the huge problems and
Right.
you force the left to respond. And when the left doesn't respond because they don't have the game plan because you're first to market, you're
Yeah.
basically creating the problem and the solution at the same time and
Right.
putting it front and center. The left is never going to catch on to that in the time that it's going to take them to get these voters back onto their side. So anybody needs to do that if you're on the right, and I just don't see it. And I've talked about this for the last year and a half. Nobody wants to listen to me though, because I've never run for office. But it's like it's got nothing to do with running for office. It's just common sense when it comes to business and
I think
marketing.
some people are trying to send that message out. It's just not getting the. It's not getting. What's the problem is once again, it's not getting a unified support from a unified Republican Party. That's the problem. It's all
Oh, that is
fragmented and corrupted, and so you're
so.
hearing these voices of what you're saying, Jay, but they're just not. They're not coming together into a unified party message. Is what the problem is.
Right, which is fine, but you don't need a unified party. The right rarely agrees with the right on anything.
But
That's
And the
in order to defeat their
really
unified
fair.
party, you kind of do. Like you need a unified party on least on these
I mean,
major
that,
issues that
Jason,
get their
that would be
voters.
ideal, but that's not what's ever happened.
Well,
And
that's why we
right,
face
right.
such an uphill battle.
Well, and you've got to realize, Jason, there's a lot of people that are just one cause voters. They only care about one thing,
I
and that's
get
what they're
that.
it's
voting on.
true also. This is very,
So
and it's
keeping
true on
that
both the
in
right and the left.
Some of those
right.
people need a talking to.
Well, so keeping that in
That's where door to
mind,
door comes from.
if you're creating the one cause issue for people to vote about, people are going to vote for you.
Sure.
That's what it comes down to. So if she's not doing that, and then it's the people that vote on multiple issues, if she's not creating these issues and turning them into huge problems that they are, nobody's going to pay attention to her. And I haven't seen anything from her. I haven't seen any news clips of her. I've only seen she talked about running for office and then she filed the exploratory campaign and then she officially ran for office. Other than that, I don't want to see some 10-minute video of her just talking in her office. I
Yeah.
don't care about that. I don't
Right.
I'm not trying to relate with you right now. I'm trying to figure out what you know and what you're going
Yeah,
to do to help us.
yeah,
Like relating to a politician like that was popular what 10, 15 years ago. I think we've proven with Trump, you don't have to relate with a politician to vote for him. You just have to like what he says
Right.
or like what he
It's
does
about
to vote
policy.
for him.
It's about
policy,
Exactly.
policy.
policy,
Right.
not personality.
Absolutely.
Don't care
But you're
about the
right.
personality, so they don't care.
Right.
Unfortunately, many voters they're called low propensity voters, and they do vote based on image and they based on personality. They just
Mhm.
do. And that gets back to one of the old rules why there was rules back in the old days that you really couldn't vote unless you had some kind of stake in the system, unless
Mm.
you owned
Well,
something or had to pay taxes in some way.
and Trump changed it, right? He made it so that he ran his campaign like a business. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he marketed
And
himself like a
not to mention his
business.
administration as well.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and that's what Aaron Stewart or any Republican needs to do is like I don't want to hear about you being a career politician. I want to hear about what you're going to do to help businesses out. I want to know what you're going to do to keep people in the state, what
Yep.
you're going to do to expand the state's presence. I mean, at one point, our trajectory was we were the best place in the country to live. And I still think we are. We've got a lot of great things, but
Well, it's
when
flipping.
when we're losing
Economic labor.
conservative voices and the conservative voices here are getting ignored, it's an echo chamber. It's
Yeah.
not that great of a place to live if you're a Republican, and that's a huge problem because I
If
love the
you're an
school systems
American, for
here.
that matter.
I love the school systems here. I love the infrastructure here. It's just I don't love the costs
Yeah.
that are associated with it. I don't love the fact that my neighbors are in their 80s and 90s and aren't selling their homes to younger generations. Not that I'm forcing people or want to force people to move out of their homes, but I understand why they're not selling their homes is because they can't afford to go to a retirement community. So
Right.
Yeah, there's no
we need
place to
to
go. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
got no place
So
to go.
and
Right.
that's what's led to the housing crisis in the state is people aren't selling their homes. So
Hmm.
when you've got people holding their homes for a lot longer than they ever had before, obviously the market is going to be no inventory, which means guess what? Prices are going to skyrocket up. So these are all issues that nobody's really talking about. It's kind of glazed over. In the media, they're not smart. I've realized watching WFSB and everybody else, they have no idea what questions to ask. They have no idea where to start. They have
Well,
no idea
they're
where to
told
end.
what to do too. A lot of that.
I don't think it is. I think we've just got a lot of Gen Z
Are they
and
really
younger
that dumb?
millennials working.
They ignore so many big stories now. Like it seems they can be that dumb. I mean,
I think they are. I think they don't have the experience to know what's causing these problems. And a lot of these people have degrees in like communications, right? They don't have any business sense. You need an actual business sense or have worked for a big corporation to understand how things are done from a dollars and cents perspective to know like, oh, the state shouldn't be doing this because if you did it on the business side, you'd get fired, right? There's not enough people that are able to work at these news stations have that acumen and say we need to start asking these tough questions. So
yeah,
that's where people like us need to come in and start
represent conservatives a little bit, maybe
representing, not even just representing the business
Business
voice and saying
people,
these
people who are
questions,
doing
these
business.
represent
exactly,
American
exactly,
capitalism, American interests. I mean,
exactly.
see, I have a
So
theory. I think it's worse than that. I really feel like the media, like WSB, will just use it as an example again, that their leaders, that the people that own that station and manage it, are corrupt. They're not. They're left, far left wing leaning, and a lot of left and far left wing leaning. They don't cover. They purposely leave out conservative stories that would be of the best interest of the people.
mhm.
And the reporters that work for them are pretty much under the same mentality for the most part. And they let a little bit of the conservatives in there just to make a show for it. But I think it's more than just ineptness. It's absolute just a lack of it's disingenuous to say the least. I can
Yeah,
use other words, but I won't.
I no, I agree with you. Like I don't know if you've seen the NBC 30 stuff out of West Hartford lately with the
Mm-hmm.
traffic circle.
No.
So they put a traffic circle in right off the high. I don't know how familiar you are with West Hartford off of
Yeah, I'm very
84.
familiar with West Hartford.
So you know the exit you take that you'd basically get off and then take a left to go to Kingswood, Oxford, the
It's at
private school.
41. Okay, yep.
Yeah, that they turned that whole area into a traffic circle because of how many lights were there, and people didn't know how to use the traffic circle. And NBC 30 has basically been covering this for like the last 6 months about how people don't know how to drive around this traffic circle. That's what they're focused on,
It's the most
and this is what
important
I'm
thing in the state of
but
Connecticut, right?
but this is what I'm saying. This is a Gen Z thing because the guy that is covering this is a Gen Z aged
Yeah.
reporter,
That's
and
Yeah.
he's out there, and it's basically
Traction news is called.
West Hartford didn't do their due diligence when it came to putting this traffic circle up. So they made it all flat, which means people were just driving straight across it rather than going around it.
Oh
Then they put
boy.
cones up, and people were going through the cones.
Now it's more confusing.
And then they said, okay, fine, we'll put planters there so people can't drive through the planters.
How many
But
people hit the planters?
I don't know. I haven't seen the reports yet, but this Gen Z NBC 30 guy covered this for like 3 months straight. Just weekly, he was there. They parked the truck there, and I know they've got the NBC location
Wow.
right next to it. But that's what they were covering. That's what I'm saying is
That's the big
Okay.
scandal in West Hartford. They didn't do their due diligence about a rotary.
and that they were trying to show that
Being
Connecticut
upset
drivers are
about it.
morons. Right.
I like Mary Fay to hear about this because I know there's a lot bigger issues in West Hartford going on than that. It should be covered for weeks.
Yeah.
But right, but that's the example I'm going to give you in terms
Yeah,
of they are idiots. They
right
don't
there.
know what to cover. They're
Right.
just finding anything to cover because they have no idea.
Or their bosses going to them and say, I want you to cover this rotary for the next 3 months. Cover it like a blanket, pal. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Who knows?
I,
You know.
yeah,
It would be
I
interesting
think
to see what the source of this little issue is, because
Well,
clearly,
maybe Common Sense Investigates should find some of these Channel 3 and Channel 8 reporters and just ask them, just walk up to them and ask them
yeah.
what, why don't they cover these stories that seem to be, that it would seem to me that the interest of the people, NBC 30 is not, I know they're located in West Hartford, they are,
Mm.
right.
but is that their purview? Is that their, like, is that West Hartford? Are they the
Like
local West
there would
Hartford station? No, they're
Well,
a
better.
station for the whole state of Connecticut, are they not? Yes, they are. So,
right. But
you know,
that's what was funny is that roundabout is right next to where their
yeah,
headquarters is.
right
So
off
it's
the
like,
street, across the street,
talk about
pissing
lazy
off the people in the
reporting.
parking lot.
Talk about lazy
It's upsetting the
reporting.
employees. Oh,
Right.
give
So
a break.
I mean, it's insane, and I know Fox is right there as well. Fox 61 is
Yeah, they
somewhere
used
in
to be
that
in
area.
downtown. They moved out too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So at Central, a lot of the people that worked in the communications department, which is where I worked when I went there, they worked for Fox or NBC 30, and they were all 1099 contractors, but they were all smart people, and
Mhm.
they all rotated between the operations. And when you have that 1099 freedom to work for the different news stations, you're getting different perspectives. And even now, like I think you're basically signing a contract and you're stuck with a network.
Mhm.
And when you do that, you limit people's freedom to find out more information about how stuff should be reported on, right? Like if you've got a reporter like Aaron Stewart is a big one, right? Or not Aaron Stewart, Aaron she worked for ESPN. Um she worked for ESPN, Fox, and a bunch of other things as a sideline reporter for sports. And she was able to learn more as a contractor because she worked for all these different networks. She had different producers and directors telling her to ask different things. That made her a better reporter overall as a sideline reporter because it wasn't just ESPN telling her what to say and do. It was everybody
Yep.
from all these different
Right.
networks giving her that insight. So in Connecticut, if you've got these people on permanent contracts with one network, you're only going to get the same editing and
Yeah.
production that's been going on for years.
Right.
They're not going to have insight into doing other stuff. And this campy type of story is synonymous with NBC. They don't really care about what's going on. I think
No.
WFSB and Fox have done a much better job in the state of covering stuff. I think Fox actually has a show that they do on Sundays where it's an open debate where they bring in politicians from both sides and they have them discuss issues. I don't see NBC even touching politics. I just see them doing this human interest bullshit that really just makes Connecticut look like a bunch of morons. I mean, that's not helping the state. And what is that going to do? It's just going to make people that live in Hartford and East Hartford, Manchester, Southington, wherever, just laugh at people in West Hartford and be like, look at these rich pricks that don't know how to drive. Right? That's just causing more divide in a sense because they're making them look like idiots. When in reality it was the engineering that just did a failure of a job putting this roundabout in and didn't explain what it was. Not that you should have to be told how to use a roundabout, but I don't think people realized it was a roundabout. I think they just saw it as this flat area and you could just drive straight across,
Yeah.
which is just what you would do at a four-way stop, right?
That's why
So,
we need. This is why we need alternative media to come up. These guys aren't going to ever do the job. We need alternative media to show up and do the right job, ask the right
yeah.
questions. And you know what we need is a strong gubernatorial candidate that can go in front of a podium that will force these guys to ask stupid questions, right? Because they're dumb and incompetent, and they're going to ask dumb, deflective questions. So the kind of questions that, like you said, Aaron Storr is not prepared to handle, not prepared to answer adequately. She'll give you the cookie
Mhm.
cutter answers. Whereas I'm hoping someone like McCoy might give a more of a answer. Kind of, you got to call these media out for the on the air because they're going to be forced to ask questions on the air live.
Well, she's
Mhm.
has her
He
own.
can do that.
She has her own show. She's on Newsmax. She does
Yeah.
commentary on CNN. So
So
she's
she's running for
been
governor.
there
She's going to be
years.
in front of a podium. So you
So
know
Yeah.
she's used to being it.
she's used to it, right?
And
She knows the heat.
Yeah.
So
this is
give her those
this is
answers. I love watching Levitt,
who is
Caroline
this?
Levitt, go at these reporters.
Betsy McCoy, which is spelled McMaughy.
She was
Someone
the
from a
former
writers.
lieutenant governor of New York.
Yes.
So
Yes.
she's a
Was,
Democrat.
she grew,
No, she's Republican.
no, she was a Republican. She grew up in Milford. She was a Connecticut resident. She grew up in Milford.
I
Um,
like her so far.
and she's
Okay.
got family here. She's got grandkids. That's why she wants to run, is because she's got,
That's
she
why I got involved with my
wants
kids and
Connecticut
grandkids.
to be what it was for her when she was a kid. She wants
That's
her
great.
grandkids to be able to live here.
So she was a Democrat
Okay, that's all right.
up
Yeah, well,
until 2010.
yeah, well, she's
They're
Republican
not all
now.
moles, Jay. Some of them are converts.
Yeah, well, I'm a convert.
We'll
I'm a
send her out,
convert.
though.
I
We'll
used to
send
be
her
a
out.
Democrat a long time ago, and
Yeah.
then I was a libertarian. I only registered
We
Republican
spoke. We spoke. We spoke
before.
through chat. We actually chat about a month ago.
Oh.
The two, yeah, and I told her I would help her, and she said, and she said, great. And I said, let's meet up. She even agreed, and then she said, I said, I'll be contacting you. She said, no, I'll be contacting you. And I
Hmm.
said, okay, great, but not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
I
know why she
definitely
said
want.
that, Jason?
I want to know why.
Because because it's giving her the power and she can reach out to whoever she wants to reach out to. She doesn't she's
Don't
basically
call me.
saying
I'll
I
call
don't
you.
she's
Don't call
saying
me. I'll call you.
I don't need your help right now is what she's saying.
So,
Well, we're gonna see if she wants an embedded reporter.
okay.
Yep, we need one though. I can't do it 24 hours. I could do 3 or 4 hours a day though. I could make it work. I could get it started and have somebody else take over.
Well, I will say she has been visiting about every RTC in the state, and she has been driving around, not everyone, because she hasn't been to Ansonia yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but she has been
I
doing.
can see I've become a pretty good reader of body language and of truth over the years as an investigator, and I like hers.
Yeah.
I, I think that we need somebody like Jody Rowe, but that's just 25% more conservative than Jody Rowe was. Because Jody Rowe was really like she was
She
kind
was
of middle.
a good lady.
Mm,
She just kind of followed through with what Roland had done and just didn't
Right.
want to make any major changes. But
Yeah.
I think she stepped down, right? It's not even like she lost the election. She just basically was like, I don't really want to do this anymore.
Yeah, because they were gonna they're probably circling the wagons around her. That's why.
Yeah. So,
Find something, anything they could find. You know how it goes.
so
but I mean,
where are we getting to the end here?
We're
So
getting toward the end.
yeah.
yeah.
I just want to touch on a little something, update you guys on what's going on. I got to tell you a little story about this. Has to do with
It's
constitutional
got a
rights.
story.
Yes. Okay. About you guys may probably know. Back on the 7th, I was up in a town called New Marlborough, Massachusetts, and I got pulled over on what's called a Roscoe P. Coltrane setup, where you drive around at 45, 50 miles an hour what the speed limit is in the small town. I mean, around the towns. I mean, and
Yeah.
as you get
Yeah,
into the town,
like
suddenly around the corner,
25,
there's a
35.
25-mile-per-hour sign and a cop waiting to pull you over, and that's what happened. And not only that, but I didn't know he was a police officer. I've been watching a lot of this First Amendment audit stuff lately. People don't know their constitutional rights. They don't. People, technically, you do not have to show a police officer your ID unless they can articulate a reason why they want your ID. In other words, there's no your papers in America.
Right.
But yet, if an officer walks up to you and says ID, please, people just hand it over anyway. So people don't know their rights. So anyway, I've been watching these things, and I ended up getting a ticket for the speeding. I first refused to give my license under the grounds he wouldn't do not tell me why he pulled me over. And I didn't even know if he was a cop for sure or not. He had a uniform on, but I saw bright lights flashing. It was late at night, and I thought, I know he's a cop. Let's be real. I know he's a cop. But what if he's not? People do bad things all the time. There's crimes. What if I was a young girl or something, hopeless, and you're supposed to articulate why you're pulling somebody over before you demand their ID. So anyway, I got a ticket for speeding that night. But here's the part of this, and people know that story. But here's the part of the story that's interesting. I got the ticket. I examined it. I had 20 days to respond. And I was told that my license in Massachusetts, by the way, this is where this happened, would be suspended if I didn't respond in 20 days. Well, fair enough. I work up in Massachusetts a lot, so I got to respond, right? But I'm going to wait till the 19th day. But I decided just this weekend to take a look at it. I didn't even look at it yet. I took a look at it. Here's the kicker. Now, does everybody know what the Seventh Amendment is?
Please articulate.
Seventh Amendment is the right to free and fair trial.
Hmm.
Now, remember the word free. Okay. In Connecticut, if you get pulled over, if you want to plead guilty, you can send in $100 or whatever it is. Fine. If you want to plead not guilty, you check off a check and they'll give you a hearing, right? In court or online. In Massachusetts, same thing, except there's one thing. If you want to send in, it was a $185 fine. You can send in the $185 fine, or if you want to plead not guilty, you can do that too. But you got to send in $25 filing fee. Jay, is that not a direct violation of the Seventh Amendment? Yes, it is. That's not
How?
free, is it?
That's
You're putting me into the system. You've pulled me over. You've dropped me into your little system, and now I've got to pay to defend myself. I got to pay a fee. Now it's only $25. Maybe I'm being a little nitpicky, but that's a fundamental problem with the Seventh Amendment. It's no longer free. What are my options now? Now, and if it's $25 now, you and I know it could be $50 3 years from now, and $100 4 years from now, and someday $250, and eventually you can't afford to defend yourself anymore. That's the purpose of the Seventh Amendment. Anyway, we're gonna fight that live.
Okay.
Now, this is gonna make me sound like I'm some. This is crazy. I've been pulled over before for little minor things like this. Okay. But I'm generally a very safe driver. So you guys are gonna go, what the hell? I got pulled over again yesterday. I was at the store getting food. I was half a mile from where I stay. I was almost there. And I look up, I see an officer behind me. He pulls into my own driveway behind me.
Wow.
Yeah. And I kind of turned 90 degrees because I'm going to do a K-turn to get in my normal parking space. I guess that must have been a threat. I don't know. But this officer, by the way, and I'll give you his name. His name is Sergeant Dexter of the Coventry Police Department. I don't remember his badge number now. I think it's 356. This guy got out and started demanding, yelling and screaming at me. Stop, what are you doing? Stop, and show me your hands. As if I had robbed a bank. He didn't have his weapon out, but he was standing like he was ready to pull it out. Scared the hell out of me. I don't get scared easily, but I was like, oh my God. I was like, and of course thinking like a guy who knows my rights again. Oh, it's a license identification. I'm like, why did you stop me? Why did you stop me? What's going on? I'm not going to license and registration. He's screaming at me.
Wow.
I'm going to pull you out of this car right now. He threatens. Now, my window's half up.
Okay.
He threatened to pull me out of my car. That would have probably injured me.
Okay.
Okay. What is that? I'm yelling at him. Of course, I cave because I'm not, first of all, I'm not, common sense, news and entertainment is not here yet. And I'm not equipped with everything I need. I would have let him pull me out of the damn car if I was ready for it. Because then he would have had a lawsuit on their hands. He didn't identify. He would not say why he pulled me over. And here's the kicker. Finally, out of fear, sheer fear for my life or my well-being, I hand the guy my license. He says, seatbelt. And he walks away. My jaw dropped to the floor. This is over a seatbelt?
You're freaking out over a seatbelt.
You're about to pull me through my car window over a seatbelt? I was stunned. Another officer showed up immediately after. He must have called for one when I didn't pull over right away. I didn't see him. I was about 3/10. Apparently, the store's only half a mile from where I was going. Okay. And I had to have been no more than that. And at first I didn't see him. So then when I finally saw him, that's when I'm right in my driveway, safer. It's a very busy road. Probably should just pull in the driveway. I think maybe he was mad because I didn't see him right away. I finally hit his lights. And then when I did see him, I thought, he was trying to pass me. Because I had no idea what I might have been doing wrong. I was driving very slowly.
Right.
And usually when you get pulled over for a seatbelt, I don't like wearing a seatbelt. I admit that. When you get pulled over wearing a seatbelt, it usually means there's a seatbelt checkpoint somewhere. But I don't know if this guy just happened to see me or something, He's a sergeant, by the way. Absolutely unhinged. You don't treat citizens like that.
That's pretty
That haven't committed any crime.
That's pretty crazy.
Anyway.
It's funny that this happens a week after we were talking about the police.
I know. And the second officer was much more reasonable. We had a nice conversation. It's actually posted all over Facebook. I'm not going to post it on this channel. The reason why is because in my haste, I gave out a couple my address, which I shouldn't have. It's out there. Whatever.
You also shouldn't have told us right now that you gave out your address.
Yeah, because people
then if people don't,
that's all right. It's changing soon anyway, so it's okay. But so I'm not going to post it on here. You can see it on Facebook. It's all right. It's already got over. Here's the thing. On Facebook, I have a presence. I do some postings. I get, I haven't really ramped it up that much. I get 40 to 60 views on each thing I post. This one is somewhere over 2,500. And maybe you can tell me this, Jay, whether people have on Facebook, once you get to a certain amount, it doesn't seem to show me the number of views anymore. It'll say, "Oh, congratulations, you have 54 times your average views on this one." That's what I got, but it doesn't tell me the number. It's weird. But
Yeah,
I said, well, 50. I did a little
I
math,
don't know.
and
I'm not familiar with
yeah,
Facebook.
I did a little math. It came out to about 2,700 views, 25 to 2,700 views. So it's gone pretty good. And the bottom line is, the second cop and I had a very interesting conversation. He pretty much agreed with me, but of course, the police officers will never check their own on their own. They'll
Mhm.
agree with me all day, but we're going to screw you anyway. And quite frankly, we could talk on another show. No time today, but another show about the seatbelt law. That is also
That's always, yeah,
unconstitutional.
that one's an interesting conversation as well,
It is
especially,
very unconstitutional. Supreme
yeah.
Court has held that the government is not responsible for your personal safety.
Mm, yeah.
They're there to protect the population as a whole, but they're not there. They're not responsible for your personal safety. Meaning the seatbelt laws, right?
Right.
All the seatbelt laws is a way for police to get a look in people's cars that they ordinarily wouldn't get into.
Mm.
It just lets them set up little checkpoints and blah blah blah. That's a topic for another day. So at any rate, we're gonna. I did go down to the PD, the Country PD, and file the formal complaint against this guy.
Okay. All right.
Period. You can't act like that. Yeah, he's going to be held accountable for it. We'll see what happens. We'll also cover that on
Okay.
this net. And we're going to cover everything on this network from this point on, because we're looking on the technology to make sure we can bleep out things, And
Yeah, that's going to be important,
but I have to admit, and I'm not a person that's easily rattled. It's
Mm.
very hard to intimidate me. This guy had me, my heart going. Do. He was like, I didn't know he was going to shoot me
Mm.
over a seatbelt.
Jeez.
Now, again, if I had my I'm working on some
Apparently,
attorney
you're
backup right
just
now.
scary looking, Jason. Like
I
you,
am. I look like
he
Jerry
looks like a
Garcia.
criminal, doesn't he, Jay?
He does.
We
He
got to clean it
does.
up a little bit. What do you mean I look like a criminal, you guys? You're killing me here. One of the guys I've been watching on says, I'm a good citizen, good citizen. What's your name, sir? The officer walking, what's your name? Well, you can call me good citizen, he'll say. Well, I need your ID. No, it's okay. Not right now. You have to articulate a crime. That's the point. It's a nuance. All he had to do was say, if he had just said, I stopped you for your seatbelt. Stop. I don't mind him yelling at me. He might have been. Listen, I know cops get ambushed these days. So to be fair, it's okay to be on your guard. Okay, but I'm just a dude coming over from the store. Come on, let's not overdo. You know what I mean? So I pull in the driveway. All he had to do, he could have got and yelled at me. Stop what you're doing. You've been pulled over for a seatbelt. Please give me your license and registration. That's all he had to do. And I would have said, yes, sir, right away, sir. Because he was right. I didn't have my seatbelt on.
How often do you not wear your seatbelt?
I'm not going to say. I'm pleading the Fifth Amendment. Jay, I'm pleading the Fifth.
Well,
You know it's there to save your. It's there to save your life.
Let me say that, but the statistics don't. The statistics don't justify a law.
we're not talking about that right now.
You're talking about morality of it. Yeah, you're right. We're not talking about
We're
that.
not having this conversation right
Anyway, we got these two things that are kind of a pain in the butt in my life, but are great for podcasting. So stay tuned.
now. All right. So on that note,
We are there, I think, are we not?
we are there. I'm declaring us there.
It's been a great show.
I got to go back to work.
Yeah.
Not me, not today.
Yeah, well, lucky you. So,
Taking the day off, rest of the day off.
yeah.
So Jay, it's been great having you here again. Next Tuesday, be back, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Sweet.
And Thursday, Selena and I will we're looking on one thing just real quick before we go. I got real organized yesterday in terms of finding guests for the show. So stay tuned.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Well, I got a little organized too. So I put together a segment on Maha. So I have something in the can and I've got some other ideas. So maybe I'll put it up Wednesday or maybe I'll save it in case something disastrous happens on Thursday. And
I wonder if we can get Kate Prokop on here on Maha.
that would be nice.
We really need to do a lot with Maha, but we should do a whole series
Well,
on that.
I'm basically just going, I'm just using that education that I've got because folks, I have a master's in nutrition.
Common Sense Youth Entertainment - Maha.
Yeah. What disastrous thing would be happening on Thursday?
I don't know. I sometimes
no,
nothing.
I thought you knew something.
No. There's no precog here. No.
The whole time we've been recording the show, I've had Fox News on the background, and Donald Trump has spent the entire time we've been on the show bragging about his accomplishments in the first year since he got inaugurated. Which, by the way, today is The first
Oh,
anniversary of Trump's
you're
inauguration. We
right.
should
It's
mention that, right?
the 1 year anniversary of his inauguration. So
Well, that note, we're going to say
Once
goodbye for the day. Jay Anderson, great to have you here with me, Jason Douglas, Selena Rifkin. Join us for the ever growing and soon to be Common Sense News and Entertainment. With that, God bless Connecticut. God bless America. Goodbye, everybody.
bye, everybody.
bye. Later.
Later.